All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. We're here every Thursday at 11 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. My name is Nina Brennan, and I'm joined by my business partner, Jonathan Ploransky. And we're the co-founders of Scaling Lean. So whether you're watching us here live on Facebook, where we are live every single week, or you're catching the replay on YouTube, it's great to see you. Just drop a comment and let us know where you're tuning in from. Um, we have a really exciting topic for you this week. We're going to be talking about micro parables and storytelling inside of marketing. And this idea really came from one of our coaching calls that we had recently. We were talking about storytelling and how background could really show authority, proof of concept, and build trust. So that's something that we're going to be diving into today. So with that being said, I'm going to pass it over to JP and we can really just dive right in.
Absolutely. Welcome to Live Every Day, everyone. Today, everyone. Coming here from sunny Scottsdale, Arizona. Nina's in Colorado. So yeah, storytelling. It's one of the easiest ways to build connection and also really build your brand and move someone through a buyer's journey to get them to buy into more of what you're doing, right? So yeah, Nina, we definitely have talked a lot about storytelling in the past couple months here. And it's going to be cool to really dive in and really break down a little bit of the framework side that we've used in the past to really help convert our leads and build our brands, right? So, with that being said, where do you think we should start off here?
Let's give a couple of examples of where storytelling is essential and how we've been using it in email, on social media, through promo cycles, and why we use it there rather than just going in for the kill with the sell.
Got it. Yeah. So the biggest thing is just using it in marketing in general, right? So, systems can be very clunky or robotic if you're not using storytelling in your marketing, right? So what we need to do as marketers, or what we're going to want to do, is really bring the stories into our connection points on social media at the top of the funnel, and then also trickle them in as we go throughout the marketing process, and then even as deep as the sales call and through our client process and on the fulfillment side as well, just to really build that connection and keep people enrolled in what we're doing, right? So at the very high level, um, really just building a pillar system of your personal brand of like three of the biggest things that you are really in belief of, right? So like for me, like physical, personal, and professional are kind of like three pillars that I think of my personal brand with like physical is more like cycling, and then business is the professional side, like what we believe in at Scaling Lean. And then also like for the personal side, it's just like outdoors camping and how we only like doing like small teams and stuff like this. So that should get us started, Nina. I think that's what you're saying, and then we can kind of go from there, right?
Yeah, so a couple of reasons that why storytelling is so important is number one, it builds that emotional connection with people, and you're building trust. So for a perfect example, we're running a promo right now for one of our clients. It's a 6-day promo cycle, and she does rental properties, long-term BRRRR strategy. She developed her own system with a BRRRR method, and she was able to scale her business from 11 doors to 75 in just 3 years. That alone just brings credibility. But the realistic side that's really connecting with people that we've been testing recently in her opt-in sequence and now through this promo cycle is the struggle it took to get there, excuse me. And what happened is we tell the story through the pain points that Jessie has gone through in order to build her portfolio to a $10 million long-term rental portfolio. And we see higher click rates, we see people responding to emails, we see people booking call through the opt-in sequence because it's we're selling a dream as a business owner, right? Here we're selling systems, automation, streamlined, and leverage inside of business. Jessie's selling freedom through wealth through long-term rentals. Anyone could see the dream, but it might feel impossible unless you bring yourself down off of this mountain that you're on and bringing it back down to, I was once you. These are the exact steps that I took. These are the struggles that I've faced. And it makes your character as the expert, as the authority, as someone who's achieved it, a lot more relatable to the people that are reading and consuming. And it also helps you stand apart from competition. There's hundreds of thousands of automated companies out there. There's hundreds of thousands of investors out there. So what this importance behind storytelling is really just picking your story that's going to relate to the people and bringing yourself back down after your achievements and what you've done as a quote unquote guru and bringing yourself down to the everyday people so they can achieve exactly what you've achieved.
Yeah, I love that connection point that you're mentioning there. And we really have basically like five stages that we think of stories in. And you kind of touched on that first one being the raw truth moment, right? Like where was it that you were before that brought you into this like idea, right? Like what put you into the journey of wanting to become that real estate investor, wanting to become that digital marketer, or wanting to go out and trade Forex or whatever your thing is that you are so passionate about. Like what is the real and raw truth of that initial trajectory that you went on? Like for me personally, like I invested tens of $1,000s in online training and ads, and that that's compelling and it attracts people to me that are in that similar position. They relate with what was happening and what was going on in my life because they potentially went through the same exact thing, right? So building that bridge of like, know, and trust, like to that person through what you authentically went through. I'm not saying to lie or anything, like authentically tell your story, power those other people that have been through that same journey as you.
Mhm. I think it's important here to highlight the difference between being authentic and building a personal brand. So a lot of people, when they talk about creating content and writing your authentic story, people think that they have to put everything into their personal brand from like the ups, the downs, the sideways, the disasters that's happening. Really, it's just highlighting the moments of your journey. And we're going to talk about the hero's journey here. It's like what it looks like the breakdown is highlighting the points of your journey that really got you to where you are, including the most important pieces of what most people are going through on the journey. You don't have to share like the ins and outs of everything of your personal life in order to build a personal brand and tell your story.
Yeah, and what you're going to discover throughout your journey, what I've discovered personally, is you're going to discover multiple micro parables, right? I know we're talking about storytelling as a big thing to overcome, but really they're 3 to 5 minute stories that you just weave in and out of your marketing that really relate to the different frameworks that you've come up with or the different situations that you've been through with the physical, personal, or professional side of what you're doing, right? So you're ultimately building that bridge stronger and stronger because people are understanding the depth of the framework that you're building because you're showcasing that hero's journey that Nina's talking about and that journey that you went through with, the backstory of the real and raw truth of what you spent or the time that you invested, and also the breaking point that you went through, right? So like we go through these like really exciting times when we go into this fun, new, exciting thing, and then we kind of go down this valley into the valley of despair in some cases. And then we hit a breaking point that is like a make or break moment, right? So that's really the second part of storytelling that I think about, Nina. It's first the real and raw truth, then it's the breaking point of like what was that big epiphany that happened in order to like set the trajectory of that next phase of our journey, right?
Yeah. And this is definitely something where we call the low point, the valley of despair, the breakthrough moment. It's like really your aha moment inside of building a business or your life of, for example, we'll just take Jessie who built the real estate portfolio. She had 10 doors under her belt and she was doing well where she was able to like quit her job and all of this stuff. But what happened was with this journey was she was sitting on a boat trying to enjoy vacation. Something happened with her real estate portfolio where somebody called her and it was super stressful because she didn't have the right systems in place. She didn't have the proper team of boots on the ground. And she realized that if she wanted this to be a long-term career, she needed the proper processes, systems, and structure in place for her not to be so stressed out. And that was her aha or breaking point or moment in time that really changed the trajectory of how she operated. We can go into different details of like our story and things like that. But if you guys have a story point that you see here, I'd love for you to drop it below just so we can kind of see if you understand what we're talking about.
Absolutely love that. Michael Pipkin actually asked for Jesse's deeper story. So after this, Michael, yeah, we'll definitely reach out and give you a little more insight and show you how that story does formulate in this formula that we're presenting during this. So now we talked about the real and raw truth. We talked about the breaking point, right? Of like that struggle that you went through or that challenge that you went through, all the time you spent, all the money you spent. Now we want to showcase like the messy part of your transformation, right? So one of them that comes to mind for me was when I was sitting in church and we were trying to get our VSL to convert and like nothing was working. Some things were working, but we weren't getting the momentum that we really wanted, right? And then something happened and like I had this like amazing idea and we came together and we formulated a new type of VSL and that's when we kind of went to that next level, right? So in part of that transformation of the journey, like we want to showcase and bring emotion into the exact things that kind of helped us overcome that big hurdle or roadblock. And we want to bring in parts of the story, like for instance, Nina and I, we were in rooms with people like Cole Gordon and Landon and Stapes from Clients and Community, and we surrounded ourselves in all these big arenas that it allows us to download a different perspective into our journeys. So that all needs to be baked into the story in some capacity, because if it's not there, people won't understand like your authority level and the trials and tribulations you went through, the amount of money you invested in this type of thing that really builds that connection.
Absolutely. And something that comes to mind here is I definitely want to break down for someone who doesn't really understand storytelling or you're very brand new to it. To do an exercise like this, write your entire story, like the ins, the outs, the goods, the bads, the ugly, and the beautiful. Like just get it all on paper, type it into a document. And the micro parables that we're talking about is like for each level of achievement. So if you're 0 to $100,000 once inside a business, what did it take to go from 0 to 10K? was like the inside of you, the outside of you, the systems inside of your business, like the struggles that you were facing, the mindset blocks that you were having. Each of those could be like a pillar or a micro parable in that just one section of your journey. Then you go from 10K to 30K. And I'm just doing it in terms of business because, it could be Jesse's like 10 to 15 doors or 10 to 20 doors, right? It's what was happening in the mind, the body, the spirit, the externals that's like stopping you from hitting this goal, the internals that are stopping you from hitting this goal. Again, people relate to the journey that you're speaking of, and every single one of these aspects of life, of what was going on in the family life, what was going on with the mindset, what blockages were you feeling, it's all a micro parable that you can create at each layer of the journey. I just want to break that down because a lot of times people who aren't more so on the creative side or haven't done this before, storytelling feels weird because they just go from like, oh, like I did this and then this is what happened. So they just go from like very blank of like short story, like that was my life in a nutshell, where you can really pull out micro parables at any stage about anything that you're facing in this life.
Totally, totally relate with that, Nina. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And now let's kind of transition to more of the like bridge moment that helped you move on to that like next level of expertise, right? So initially we start out in most cases as the hero in our own journey, right? So the real and raw truth comes out where we showcase where we are and why we're going to be going on this journey. Then we go and talk about the breaking point, which is basically describing the moment everything started to change for us and we started to gain momentum. Then we transition into the transformation of that journey where we're now like on the cusp of becoming that expert status and showcasing all the little micro things and even big things that start to really hit that next level. And now we're going to have the bridge moment, which is going to be that massive transformation in most cases where you solve that initial problem that you set out to achieve, right? So in this phase, we're going to showcase our own framework in most cases as the expert now, right? Because we're now bridging that gap from person that went on a journey to now we solve the problem and we want to help others do that as well. So I just want to bring that up now because that's really the next phase, Nina, and that's really the magic that starts to unfold where you step into that expert phase and the story really becomes locked in and more clear, and then now you can start to vocalize it better, and it really starts really attracting people in because now you're seen as an authority instead of just someone that's kind of on the journey, right?
Yeah, so this is like something that I really like to see as like a reflection point of you're now achieving. Like I loved how you brought in the expert idea. So now you're sitting in the spot of the expert. For Jessie, it was like maybe she crossed over the 75 doors and now she wants to bring it back and help other people do this, right? It's you're sitting in the seat of the expert, reflecting on the journey and understanding how that transformation took you from that point of aha to you starting to build and gain the momentum to you achieving what you once set out to achieve. And if you think about it in like the hero's journey, it's like you're here and you want to tell your story back so other people could achieve that same thing. So it's like, what were the steps? Again, emotional side, the actual tangible frameworks that you were to get there. And you just sitting back in that expert seat and telling your story of like how step by step you were able to achieve this expert hat or this authoritative hat based on the experiences that you've gone through.
Absolutely, 100%. So then really the last and final stage is just your proof point stage, right? So now you're able to help others achieve the same exact journey that you went on, right? So for us, one of our micro parables is we started our business and we were on TikTok. We were doing 3 to 5 videos a day and we were hunting people down in the DMs, sending hundreds of messages. And sure, our business scaled and we were able to do $650,000 in 12 months, but we had no life and we were literally like freaking out because, as Nina calls it, squirreling out because we didn't have sustainability and we didn't have predictability. So then really the transformation of our journey is we realized that we needed to leverage paid advertising, right? So we could have an inbound flow of leads coming to us that we didn't have to hunt people and they'd identify with the things that we were doing, right? So they wouldn't need to be hard sold or like things like this, right? So we went on the journey to learn paid advertising on Facebook, and man, it was hard. We spent tens of thousands of dollars um, on Facebook ads. We bought agency products. We bought hundreds of thousands of dollars of consulting products. But you know what? We finally cracked the code. What we found out is that we didn't have our funnel segmented properly. We didn't have our ecosystem built deep enough with email nurturing and that showcased our stories, our testimonials. So then once we started to begin to build those assets and segment our funnel down, we learned and had the big epiphany that, man, this isn't as hard as what we thought it was. We just need to follow up with our leads stronger, right? So then we wound up writing a 4 to 6 minute VSL, simplifying the whole entire process, getting on the phone with more people. And then we were able to spend about $30,000 in ads and produce $120,000 in revenue from that, right? So then we went on our journey to help showcase that conversion engine implementation program and conversion engine that we built. And now look at us, we've helped over a couple hundred people and we've generated over $7 million online, right? So that's an example of a micro parable that we use every single day pretty much on our calls and in the DMs and on live events to really help us connect with those people. And then we have micro parables under that even to even enhance those based on the conversations that we're having.
Absolutely. And I love how you brought that up. It's like it really does only take one micro parable that's going to hit really hard with the exaggerated outcome of exactly what you've achieved. So when I say exaggerated outcome, it's not a lie. It's like a very big outcome or very impressive outcome, specifically like us achieving the $7 million in the online space, Jesse achieving 75 doors in just 3 years, or 11 to 75 doors in just 3 years. It's like that big, whoa, how did they do this? Or how did she or he do this? And then the micro parable is like just telling that one story over and over again that's going to hit. Like one of ours, I believe that really hit was I deleted my TikTok, which generated over $650,000 in just 12 months. And this is exactly what we did. And then we told the story of what you just said of we developed an ad strategy for predictable leads. We deepened our funnel. It was deep and wide, which is a deeper nurturing process. And that was like what brought people in was that one micro parable that hit the pain point that people were exactly sitting on of I don't want to create 3 to 5 TikToks or short form videos a day. I don't have time for content. I'm stuck on the content hamster wheel. That's what drew them in. But those other micro parables leading to this specific outcome that you have achieved in your life is what's going to keep people interested in your journey specifically and help you stand out from the other hundreds of thousands of businesses that are just like yours.
Absolutely. So hope y'all are seeing how these stepping stones and challenges that you're going through, don't be afraid to talk about them. Oftentimes, a lot of the people we work with, we have to drag these stories out of them. And then once they start communicating their stories, things start to light up for them. They start to really generate clients. They start gaining momentum. They start gaining confidence in what they're doing. So don't be afraid to tell you about your struggles and challenges. We're all entrepreneurs in this space, and we have micro failures or sometimes even big failures that really connect people. And I mean, who doesn't like a rags to riches story, right? Like think about your favorite football player, your favorite soccer player, or your favorite race car driver. A lot of them have pretty like horrible, like dark stories, and then they become this amazing thing, win 7 championships, or all types of amazing outcomes. Like Michael Jordan didn't even make his basketball team in high school, right? Like a micro parable, and that's part of his journey and part of his character, right? So one question you might be asking now is like, where do we use these stories? And I kind of touched on it earlier before, but it's literally everywhere. Like you should be telling them to your parents or your spouse and like anywhere you can, honestly. Like I love telling stories all over the place because it enhances my brand and it enhances my character and it just makes me feel good, honestly, because it just showcases like where I'm going and where I'm coming from, right? So yeah, that's kind of a little piece that I just ripped there, Nia.
Yeah, and stories have been told for centuries and centuries and centuries on end. We could even say millennia is on end at this point. People love stories. People remember stories. And if you're able to tell your true, authentic story through a parable type of situation, you can make it funny, you can make it dark, you could bring and evoke that emotion out of other people. People are going to remember it. Even if you do it in a networking event. Like think about the guy in the room who's on the stage, like telling his story. There's someone that I'm sure you've seen live that it just hit really hard at home. And that's what we're trying to help you do here. And if you want a framework to pull out the story from you, we have a storytelling framework. All you have to do is drop hashtag storytelling below and we will send it over to you. Once you get it on paper, I promise you it's going to be a lot easier to start formulating these, not only this large story of the outcome that you've achieved, but these micro parables that are really going to resonate with your audience and pull people into your content, your story, your product and service, and just you as an individual.
Absolutely. That's great. And yeah, we're happy to share that storytelling framework as she mentioned there forward with you. Just drop a comment storytelling below. Um, One thing I just want to challenge everyone that's watching this live or replay, take 30 minutes today. Like do it today and just write down like what was the problem? Where were you? How did it feel where you were? What changed in your outcome? And like how you were able to help someone else overcome that pain. Those are really the 4 things that you really need to write down in that initial phase of writing a story. And then just start talking about it and it will kind of just start to flow. And this should be something that you practice weekly, daily, right? Even a couple times a day to really hone it in. And then once you hone it in, just keep saying it over and over and over again because it's just going to keep getting better and better. You're going to become a better marketer. People are going to become more attracted to you. Your sales are going to increase, and it's just going to be lights out for you. So that was my challenge for everyone watching this. Like, take action today, right now, 30 minutes, answer those 4 questions, write them down on a piece of paper, and start talking about your stories to people that you come in contact with.
Absolutely. I love that. I think we could take it out from there.
Right on. Yeah. So it's a new month. We do have open enrollment now in the conversion engine implementation program, the School of Social Selling. We're actually running a contest right now inside where we're giving away $500 to the person that gives away or earns the most inside of the program. For older members that are inside our program, we're still giving forward a gift card of 250 for them as well. So results are starting to come in. We just had an amazing launch yesterday with one of our clients, Haley Evans, did a LinkedIn webinar and closed 2 clients already, first launch ever. So shout out to you, Haley. That's freaking amazing. We're probably going to be doing some of those ourselves because that's an amazing result. She spent a couple $100 on ads and closed about $1,000 so far, and she's got more leads coming in still. So we'll see what else comes from that. If you are looking for any support with launching your offer, building a conversion engine, CRM, funnels, email marketing, text marketing, or even launching your paid advertising, definitely hit Nina or I up or just drop a info below on this post and we'll definitely reach out and have a conversation, see if it'd be a good fit.
Absolutely. And just to bring light, because I have had a couple of questions in my inbox lately of what our offers are. We can work together with for as little as $97 a month in our coaching community. You get 2 coaching calls a week with me and JP, and you also get access to our course. It's very community oriented. Getting people in there. They're really starting to post and engage. So if you are looking and you're under that 10K per month mark, it's a perfect example of what you should be joining. It's everything that you need to get to your first 6 figures in the online space before we really work together one-on-one and dial you in for multi 6 and even 7 figures.
Absolutely. And then there is the conversion engine software product that we have, which includes onboarding. So if you're a person that goes cross-eyed with anything tech, that'll get you up and running with all of your domain implementation, your email, and your texting in about a 1 hour onboarding session. And we've gotten great reviews with that, 5-star reviews, and it's only $97 a month, right? So we hate to see people struggle. We don't want that for you. We were in that place for years, literally. So we refined everything down. We got it all dialed in. So definitely, again, reach out. Even if you just want to give it a try for 30 days, the software is free for 30 days. So yeah, that's all I have for us, Nina. And we look forward to seeing you all next Wednesday or Thursday rather at 11 a.m. MST. We do have time zone shifts, so I'm going to be probably a little off with mine because I'm in Phoenix, but we'll definitely see you at 11 a.m. MST, right?
Yep, sounds good. We'll talk to you guys then.